Well, for some reason, the intro won't play, but I'm here. Welcome to the show at Six Guys and You on Street News Now. SNN is the network. Thank you for joining us. We do this every Thursday night at 6 p.m. West Coast time, and we appreciate you being a part of what we're doing here. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and comment wherever you are, whether you're on you're on Twitter, um, Facebook, YouTube, wherever you are, do what I'm asking you to do, and I'll be a happy camper, okay? Just share, like, and subscribe and comment on what we're talking about tonight, all right? And with that, let me bring in the rest of the crew. And here's Dr. Ron. Hey, doctor.
Hello, 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 hello. What's up, man? How you doing tonight?
I'm good, man. I'm real good.
Good,
I'm
good,
a
good.
little disappointed that my intro didn't fire off, but I've never
Ah,
had that to happen. So the
that's
gremlins are out there messing with me.
yeah. That's why we do the test thing. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Well, I did it
Yeah.
earlier today, and it
Oh, did
played.
you? Okay.
I absolutely did.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, let's
Yeah.
bring in Mike Love. Mike, hailing from the boondocks in Texas.
Can you see me?
Yes,
Yes,
I see
sir.
you.
Okay, because I'm working on another program as we doing this,
Mm-hmm.
trying to bring me closer to the team.
Well, just move.
Well, it's saying the camera is not available.
No, physically.
It's
Just
currently in use
just
by another
zoom
process.
in.
I ain't
Zoom
getting no
in.
zoom. It ain't letting me zoom right now.
Yeah.
I can't get no zoom.
Well, don't worry about it, bro. Don't even worry about it. We can see you. That's the main thing. We can see you. Okay.
All right, then y'all can see me.
Yes, sir. We sure
Yeah,
can.
we can see you.
Yep. That's a good
You
thing.
and you and your big fat mic there. That's big fat mic.
Yeah, he got that
Yeah.
Yeti, that blue Yeti,
How
right?
about that
Blue
Yeti
Yeti.
back?
Yeah,
Yeti, Yeti,
yeah, yeah,
Yeti.
yeah,
I had Yeti'd it because Lee had got on me about spending money, but
Yeah, I'm trying.
you know.
yeah. And that's the person that was hanging out in the trade show today, right? Or this week, right? And sending out pictures talking about like I'm a kid in the candy store.
Yeah, man. That was
That's
a
what he
happy
said.
camper.
Yeah, yeah. This
Yeah, it was
big
fun.
tech
I
convention.
hadn't been to an NAB convention since Mike and I hooked up here in Vegas.
Oh
So that was the
wow, that's
last
been a
time.
minute.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yep. But it was fun. I didn't get a chance to do as much as I'd like to have, but I got over to the Black Magic booth, and I spent quite a bit of time over there because they've got some new product that I'm interested in. But I didn't buy anything. I didn't spend any money.
Wow, you're taking your own advice. I like that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. I went over to actually I stumbled across the ham operators at ARRL, American Radio League Relay League is what
Oh,
that
okay.
stands for. And so I'm kind of a ham
Operator.
wannabe. Yeah. And I've messed around with it as a ham listener for many years. Did CB radio when I was a kid. And so now I'm studying to get my ham license, my amateur license. So there are three classes of license. It's a technician, the general, and the advanced. So
Wow.
I plan to take two tests in one day, the technician and the general. I'm not sure that I'm gonna go with the advanced. That's just I'm too old for all that technical stuff, but I might,
But now
maybe
isn't
right
that
away.
the same thing as a shortwave operator's license? Isn't that
Well,
the
the
same class?
shortwave is just listening. You don't need a license for that, but in order to transmit, you have to have the
Well, yeah, when
amateur.
you're on marine ships and things like that, you have to
That's
have.
a different class.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah,
because I used to
yeah,
have
that's Marine.
FCC class license, and I think it was like second class or something like that for
Yeah.
two-way radios. Because when you're on the tour,
Right.
and you go to different cities, there are certain frequencies that you can't operate on unless you have an FCC license. And I used to carry that license just for the two-way radios that we had just amongst the crew.
Right.
So I didn't know if that was the same thing or not. So that's why I was asking the question. Yeah. And the license we had would also work with marine vehicles and vessels. Like if we
Right.
were,
Right.
if we were a radio operator on a tugboat or something, we had to talk to the, other tugboats or whatever. We had the
Right.
license to be able to
Yeah.
do it.
That's a Marine class license. So your second class may have had a special endorsement for
Okay.
that particular thing. And the ship is assigned, I think, the call letter. So you're operating
Right.
under them,
Yeah.
not as a
Yeah.
personal thing. I
Right.
think that's the way that works.
Yeah. Because, the radios we had, we didn't need call letters unless we got checked.
Well,
Okay.
well,
If they
yeah,
said,
you
"What's your
needed to
call
call
letters?"
letters.
Well, yeah, but if they asked us, like if we were in Texas or something, they said, "Well, what are your call letters? You're on this frequency," then you would
Right.
have had to respond with the
Right.
appropriate, response. Otherwise, FCC gonna fine you if they
Right.
Oh,
record
wow.
you. Yeah,
Yeah, but the ship should have had its own call signs.
yeah. No, I'm just talking
Yeah.
about two-way radios, handheld.
Oh, well, it depends on the type of radio that you had. There's a commercial class, and those are required to have a license. If
Yes.
it's a CB, no,
Yeah.
you didn't need a license for that. Now
Yeah.
there's a new um, class of CB on a different frequency. It's not on the 27 megahertz or 11 meters. It's called GMRS, and you do have to pay for a license, but you'll have to take a test for that. But it's kind of like CB because it's
People
open to
still
the
do
public.
CB radios?
Oh, sure, yeah.
I didn't
It's
know
still,
that. I
it's
guess
still
the
live.
truckers do, right?
Yeah,
Yep.
truckers still do it, and then there's individuals that do it as well. So yeah, it's not nearly as active as it was as in the late 60s and through the 70s.
Breaker 1-2.
19.
Oh, 19. Okay.
Well, you can go to 12. 12 is not a
Yeah,
problem.
yeah, you could. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah,
So
that's
anyway,
the only one that you can't go to is 9. That's the emergency ban all over the world.
well,
Yeah,
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 emergency channel. But
yeah.
yeah, it was a fun National Association of Broadcasters convention. A lot of people, tons. I haven't had one for 2 years during COVID. So a lot of people came out, all the different vendors. I mean, you could spend a week going through those through the convention hall because it's just so many things to see and do.
Hmm.
So anyway, night before last, they had the ham guys all got together for like a little meeting, and they were doing giveaways. So I actually won. Where's the radio? It's in the kitchen. I actually won a handheld ham radio.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
And then I was given two books. One is for the general class, study, and then the other one's just a general operation of ham radio, which I know most of that stuff already. But yeah, these guys are calling me like crazy now. So I'm gonna really dive in and try to get my license done before my birthday, May 28th.
Now this is for ham radio.
Right, correct.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. And yes, I'm gonna drag you guys into it.
No,
No,
you're not.
no, you're
No,
not.
no,
No,
no, you're not. No.
Come on,
no,
come on,
No.
Mike.
no.
Especially you. You got a house with a yard. You could have an antenna in your backyard, and
Yeah,
and,
70-foot
and
antenna in the
yeah,
backyard.
man, the radio there in the
Yeah,
garage. If we could just
yeah,
talk to
yeah,
each other
yeah,
long
Just talking
distance.
to random people.
Yeah,
yeah,
well, yeah, but you
yeah.
meet some
No,
interesting
having
people.
people lie to you on purpose is what it is.
No,
Just like
it's
the truck drivers with the CBs. They
well,
lie
no,
to you
it's
on
not like
purpose.
yeah,
What
You
what
know
they be lying about, Ron?
everything, man. They tell you stories, man. One night, and I was resting.
Comfortable?
Uh, yeah, in the back of the truck. Yeah, and I was in a Florida truck stop. Wildwood, I think it was, if I remember correctly. And people talking crazy. on the radio like they normally do. We call them radio Rambos. And I just broke out into, the dialogue for the Lone Ranger. And it quieted everybody down, like they used to do on radio, you know. And today, the story is about Tonto getting captured by the sheriff in a small town,
Right.
hi-yo, Silver. I did the whole thing, right? And
Right.
some guys, man, they were like, wow, you ought to be in radio, man. And then I was like, only the shadow knows for sure.
Oh, not the shadow.
Oh, God.
I went back on those guys, man. But
Totally.
it was
That
one
was
of those
before my
things.
time.
It was just one of those things, man, killing time
Yeah.
before I climbed in the bunk and went to sleep. But the thing about CBs and short waves, nobody can see you.
Right.
True.
So you can say and be anything you want to be
That's true.
in the process of being behind the other end of the microphone. And and traveling down the road with the CB, because they're so similar, in operation, and and the BS that goes on. Guys would talk, call you the N-word and be riding down the
No,
road.
not the N-word.
Yeah, well, hams don't do that.
Yeah,
It's a little more classy.
and they be trying to get down the road at 80 miles an hour, so don't nobody, see them talking trash.
Right.
And then one
Those are
guy
called
was
cowards.
then the guy would see him and say, man, I'm right next to him. He at the 157 mile marker.
Right,
We can get him.
Oh, damn.
Yep, that's true.
Oh man, it's
But see,
crazy out there.
What they're doing nowadays, though, see, because of like what we're doing, so you'll have ham operators actually streaming themselves as they're talking to people on the radio.
Right.
So they'll have a YouTube or Facebook or both going at the same time, so you can actually see them, and then they'll have a camera on their radio, so you can actually see the meters and the lights and all that stuff of who they're talking to.
So like gamers.
Yeah, kind of
Yeah.
like that. Let me take a pause here for a minute. I want to say, my deepest thoughts and prayers goes out to John Lewis, who was one of my best friends of all time. His wife is not doing well, so I want to send out a Street News Now prayer out to John and his wife, and hope that she has a speedy recovery. They're down.
I'm sorry, I fell out for a minute. Who was that you were talking about?
John Lewis. He's a guy that I did radio with in St. Louis.
Okay, he sent me a note the other day. What was going on?
His wife is in the hospital. She's not doing well.
Okay.
So I wanted to send out a 6 Guys and You Street News Now
Absolutely
special prayer out to John and his family.
Yeah. Amen.
We're asking for healing hands, John.
That's right.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
You can do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I wanted to make sure I made a note of that. So he's in the chat room there. And what's up, Laura Rice? How you doing? Haven't seen you in a minute. So, okay. So 2 of our guys are missing tonight. Well, 3. The professor is out doing some church stuff tonight. I'm not sure where Buck Wild is. And
okay, you just said his name. There's
okay.
That's like
says
an
it all.
oxymoron. I'm not sure where Buck Wild is. Okay. Okay. You just got to answer.
He's Buck Wild.
He's Buck Wild. Okay.
Yeah.
We may not want to know where Buck Wild is.
And Chris has some family stuff going on tonight. So it's just the 3 of us.
Yeah.
Just the 3 of us.
I think we can make it happen.
Yeah.
And and last week, I'm gonna bring it up because I was noticeably missing last week. My internet was acting crazy, in and out all night long, and I wasn't able to get on the show. And I was listening to the show on my cell phone, but I still wasn't able to chime in. And,
Well, you could have come in on the cell.
I didn't even think about that. I was just so frustrated about my about my internet acting up. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, you just kind of disappeared in thin air. I mean, it was just like you were just gone.
Yeah. I had showed up in the green room, and all of a sudden, poof, the whole internet just popped out. I'm like, wow.
And that's what we thought. Speaking of the word poop, we thought that's what you were doing. You went to poop or something, and you were gonna come back, but you never came back. I'm kind of
I heard your comment about the leg action too last week.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of your trademark. If you see a man's leg in a photo, 9 times out of 10 it's probably Ron's.
Okay.
You just should hope that it's not someone a relative or a small child or something like that.
A small child.
God have mercy.
Wait a minute. I thought the only person on the cast that had children stashed in the trunk was Lee.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You could end up having your leg in Lee's trunk. Okay.
Hey, look, I had to let him go.
Suburban or something.
I had to get him out of the trunk because all they wanted was McDonald's. So
because you was in McDonald's. with an Amber Alert going off.
Can I bring something up? That I've noticed. One of the things, and I apologize for interrupting, but you said McDonald's, and this has been going through my head, right? I just noticed that all the McDonald's restaurants, the designs have changed, the buildings.
Yeah, they've been
When
changing.
did they do it? I don't remember seeing them remodeling or anything. They've totally gotten away from the kiddie Ronald McDonald look. They're all like brick and mortar. When did that happen?
Well, they've been doing that for a period of time, and certainly all the new ones took on the new facade.
Okay.
And then they're slowly remodeling some of the others, I guess. But yeah, it's been going on, I think, for a few years now. Yeah,
because they got this brick and mortar kind of look, like they serious about, like the Big Mac. That's really serious. Okay, do not mention don't let the fish fillet be in your mouth unless you're eating it. They're dead ass serious about their product now. I mean, I don't think do they show Ronald McDonald, the guy with the fiery hairdo?
No, he's the clown has been kind of like MIA.
Yeah.
So I think they're trying to get away from that image and grow it up a little bit. But even the ones that had the romper room in there, I see
exactly. Now they still have they call it the play something.
Mm-hmm.
And they'll say on the outside, they got the playroom or whatever it is.
Right.
But
I'm seeing less of those though.
Yeah, but that whole look is totally different. I mean, they're like serious ass 65-year-old McDonald's.
I guess that's a significant clientele, the older crowd.
Well, I think they want everybody. I mean, I think it went too far with the Happy Meal. You get some kind of toy and you're in the prize or something like that.
Do they not do that now?
I don't know. I'm gonna tell you, when I changed my eating habits back in 2001, I can't tell you. I went to Taco Bell. One time I was out driving. It took me on a trip that was about 35 or 40 minutes, and I hadn't eaten. And normally I take my food with me, right? And so I was starving like Marvin. And I said, okay, I know that Taco Bell has the chicken taco. And I had it once, and it was okay. It wasn't bad. So I pull in and I ordered a chicken taco and a water or something like that. And it was ready by the time I got to the window, and that was scary.
Yeah.
Now, I'll tell you another thing. We're all wondering why Chick-fil-A's lines are so dang long. They've captured the hearts of people. I mean, if you weren't thinking about going to Chick-fil-A, it started festering in your head because you're seeing 25, 30 cars in line out in the street.
Okay? I can't do that.
Well, here's what they're doing. See, a lot of the restaurants now are going made to order, which means that their food is fresh when you get it. Yeah, it's fresh. They're just dropping it in the pan or whatever they're doing to fix the chicken, so it's nice, fresh, and hot. And that's what's captured that crowd that you see. So the line is not really based on the popularity. It is to a certain degree, but come on, that's quality. Genius. Yeah. When you think about marketing, that is marketing genius. You have a line, the line says that food must be great if they've got a line out in the street. But the line in the street is basically because they're preparing your food. You got to wait 5-10 minutes before it to be fixed.
Yeah, that's true. You know, I had some clients at Coachella, and after I picked them up that night, they wanted to go by Chick-fil-A, because that was really, I think, the only thing open. And
Right.
no,
They
it
got it one
wasn't.
Sunday.
It wasn't Chick-fil-A. It was oh shit, what's it? uh, Raising Cane. Do they
Oh,
have those
Raising
in there?
Cane. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, but it's similar situation.
Yeah.
But I've noticed, because I just had Raising Cane the night before last, the chicken pieces are smaller.
They're actually smaller.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. Almost half the size that they used to be.
Did you tell Ron you had been raising Cain with me over the last couple of weeks about me spending money? I mean, he was acting a damn fool the other day. Ron, you know the TV situation, and this is kind of inside. You know, the audience doesn't know what we're
Here we
talking about.
go.
You know, and I'm gonna go
go.
ahead and tell it, since he was raising Cain the other day about me spending money. So Lee goes out and he buys a television, and his wife takes the television from him like he's a little punk, and makes him hang it on the wall.
Straight up
gangster the television from him. The
Straight up.
television was supposed to be used so he could use it as a monitor.
It's supposed to be right here in front of me.
Yeah,
In
it'd
the
be right in
studio.
front of him. Yeah. And so
Yeah.
she came in and said that was some straight bullshit, and took the television from Lee
And made him hang it in the bedroom.
Yeah.
Yeah, because in the bedroom we only had like a little 20.
We ain't asked you no questions.
We didn't
We got
ask
the
you. Now,
story.
why you going
We
personal?
got the story
Yeah,
under
we didn't want to know.
control
Come
here.
on, man. No, stop. Don't be telling us what's going on in your bedroom.
Okay, see, I know how to control them. I have the control of the horizontal and the vertical and the mics. So I know when to cut them off. See, they can talk all that bovine they want right now, but nobody can hear them. So when y'all calm down, then I'll bring it back on. Now, Dr. Ron, what are you talking about tonight?
Hilarious. You are hilarious. Before we go too far, I want to say shout out to Beatrice Woods, because she say she your sister.
That's right. That's
And
my
then
big
Wendy
sister.
Williams is her first time joining us on the show, and I want to welcome her and thank her for coming on to check us out.
Who, Wendy Williams or Beatrice?
No, Beatrice,
Wendy.
I don't know if she's been on here before, but Wendy.
Oh,
Wendy,
B has been here. Sure.
Yeah. Wendy is in Chicago, and she's an attorney.
Oh, that Wendy Williams.
Yes, and she came to check us out on the show tonight. So we're going to try not to disappoint her, because she's already asked the question. What's the topic?
Yeah, or topics.
Well, because we got
usually have 5 or 6 of them, but I think tonight we got maybe a couple.
Yeah. So starting out, I want to talk about the situation in Florida. On last week, the Florida governor, Ron DeSantis, he had passed a bill and made into law that, he had a problem with gay people in Florida. So when he passed that law, there were, of course, protests. And originally, Disney didn't say anything. And then Disney said, okay, we got to come out and disagree with him. We don't agree with this law that you just put into place in Florida. So they protested and they disagreed with what was going on. So now DeSantis, being offended over the fact that Disney exercised their freedom of speech and protested, they went back into legislature, pulled up an agreement that they had with Disney that was made in 1965.
Wow.
Which gave Disney sovereign control over their amusement park, just like the Vatican.
Yeah.
They had their
39
own
miles of an amusement park.
Yes, they had complete everything, their own police, their own health, everything, anything that you can imagine. They did not have to rely on the government of Florida for anything. They were completely self-contained. And that agreement was made in 1965. I'm emphasizing that because it's important. Okay. And because Disney did not agree with this Republican governor, he took away their sovereignness in the state of Florida and just came down on them out of retribution for what they had the perfect right to do as freedom of speech. Freedom of speech. This is a revenge act because you do not agree with me. I'm going to take something from you. And he made the press conference and statement because his, imps, or demons or devils in the legislature, allegedly, the Republicans that support him, they voted to say, okay, we're on board with this. Now, keep in mind that Disney is the highest paid employer in the state of Florida.
Hmm.
Okay. There's no company bigger than Disney in Florida. So in his press conference, he said, I am not going to let some corporate CEO in California tell me what's right and wrong in my state. And then he commenced to, persecuting them for what they had done. Now, that's wrong in so many different ways. I mean, it is wrong in all kind of ways. First of all, if you're a governor of the state, you're supposed to be governor for all the people. And to create and institute legislation against a particular group of people, it's not, you're not trying to be governor for all the people. You want to be governor for just who you want to be governor for. And everybody else, you're going to execute laws against. There have been protests in Tallahassee. People have been protesting the way he handled we're not testing, we're not vaccinating in the state of Florida. He took that strong, line of I'm not doing it. And there were people that were affected by his decision. His attitude was that, oh, this is a black, brown problem. It's not a, European problem. So if they get sick and die, oh well, that's their problem. And that's the line that he took. And the African Americans and the brown and the black people, depending on what you go by, they objected to this and they protested it, and they have been protesting it since he instituted that line in the sand, like, I'm not doing it. And then people were upset about it and protesting, like, look, we need to be able to get tested. We need to get vaccinated. We don't need you opposing this. If you are the governor for the state of Florida, you should be the governor for everybody. And now he's come out and said, well, I don't, the gays, don't say gay law. Okay. And then put that into effect. And of course, all of the gay people or, the alphabet people, L, B, G, Q, whatever alphabet people they are, they protested. Well, they don't have no say so because now it's a law. He signed it into law. And Disney being one of the big, now, granted, okay, Disney probably employs a lot of them because if you think about it, Disney has a variety of entertainers in their employ. And, I'm not going to dare to, make numbers or whatever, what percentage of their employees might have that lifestyle. But, it's only right for them to speak up for their employees and those that are not. It's only right to do that. and they spoke up against an injustice, freedom of speech. And then for him to go on the attack, he had to go back in the archives. This agreement was made with the original Mr. Disney. He was still alive in 1964.
Right. Walt.
Walt himself was still alive. And this was his dream and illusion. And they still had things to do, as far as the complex itself in Florida. That complex was still under development, but now, no telling what's going through the minds of the corporate people in California. If we pull out and we can leave you with this giant landmass with no employees on it for you to try to figure out what to do with.
Well, I don't think Disney's going to do that. And I think that's what the governor was thinking. I can back them into the corner, but they're not going to pull out and say, we're tossing in the towel, we're out of here, because it's too big for both the state as well as the Disney organization. The thing that bothers me is the Republicans tend to use freedom of speech and the various amendments in the Constitution when it's convenient for them.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Okay. It's the same thing with Elon Musk. Okay. He's a dangerous man. Very dangerous, because he's got enough money, unlike Donald Trump, who faked the funk. And a lot of dummies bought into the fact that, well, he's a rich, successful businessman, and I think he'd make a great president. Bullshit. He's a con artist. He's a media pimp. And so is Elon Musk. Now, I'm telling y'all, watch this guy. His latest thing that he wants to buy is the country music world, the Grand Ole Opry, all the country music record labels, the artists, the catalogs, everything, because he wants to turn back the hands of time and make country the way it used to be when it was more cowboy country, redneck country versus contemporary country that it is today. Now, this guy is from what, South Africa?
Yes, sir.
And one of his parents happened to be German.
Mm-hmm.
So what the hell does he know about the American music heritage that he thinks he can come in? He said, country music is broken and I'm going to fix it. What?
Well, I would have
background
encouraged
do
him.
you have to make that big fat claim?
I would have encouraged him to buy hip hop out, and fix that.
I ain't gonna mess with them.
Hey, wait a minute, they would accept it like really quick, because they like anybody that's got money.
Yeah.
If you got money,
Yeah,
they love you.
Can you
Yeah,
imagine him sitting down trying to negotiate a deal with Snoop Dogg?
Oh my
yeah,
God,
yeah, buy 'em out.
I mean, it would.
Buy 'em out.
I'm trying to tell you, it probably would work. But let's go back
No,
to
man, you're gonna have to hit this blunt here before we go.
and he'd be like, "Fine, I'll do it." Whatever it
Get
is.
him high, and then he's gonna lose his shirt.
One of the
seriously.
things I had a chance to see consolidation up close and personal, and working for the ABC radio network and watching it go into Cumulus, and just watching other companies, iHeart and Intercom at the time, which is now Odyssey and Beasley, and it goes on. It's not really about. It's always looking at the numbers. It's looking at the revenue. They don't care anything about the product per se. There's some passion there, but not at the level of survival. Basically, what they do is they look at a spreadsheet and try to figure out how they can grow this product to make more revenue. So when they want to buy something, they've got more than enough money. When you start talking about you're paying $80 billion for Twitter and you want to give up $60 billion for the country music, whatever it is, and the list goes on. We watched radio with the largest radio company at 850 radio stations, followed by number 2 with 425 radio stations, and it continues to go on. And it's all revenue driven. It's nothing personal.
Mm-hmm.
It's all spreadsheet. How much money can we make over the course of time? And of course, how much money they're going to take out of it, because they come up with the genius opportunities. The crazy part about it, and you and I, Lee, have been watching it. We're looking at a radio program now, software, that's changing the whole perspective of what it means to go into a building that has 3 or 4 studios, and you sit down in front of a microphone and you're conducting a show. It's all done in the browser. So they get help with the ideas that they come up with to improve revenue by, just the mere fact that it looks like they're controlling it and they're making all the decisions. And people are hungry for that. I mean, my grandmother used to say, if you fall for this, you'll fall for anything. And that's where the public is at large right now. They'll pretty much fall for anything new and popular. And it's a dangerous place to be in for our country and for the world at large.
Yeah,
it's true.
One of the things about DeSantis, he completely eliminated a Democratic district to help the Florida legislator get to Washington. So he has manipulated. And I know a couple of weeks ago, we talked about the Republican playbook on what they do and what they say in order to be able to enact their policies, in order to be able to pull off some of the things that they feel that they need to do in order to be able to take back the Senate at the midterm. And, we showed back then some of the states that are in debate right now on who's going to be elected and who's not. And the Republicans have reached back into their playbook and pulled out Herschel Walker, who, since I last talked about that, his residence has always been known as Texas. And now all of a sudden he's got a Georgia residence, and he's running against, Senator Warnock,
right?
Who won the election in Georgia. So, they are, and I say they, I mean the Republicans are doing every dirty trick in the book.
That's the only way they can win.
Yeah, to try,
because they don't have a. They don't have a plan. They don't.
But
have
see, you don't need a plan,
worthwhile.
guys. You don't need a plan when you have gullible people.
Well, that's
what's going on.
You're right. With pandering to the ignorant.
Yeah, there you go. The citizens at large fall for anything. You got people running around talking about they're addicted to TikTok. I heard about it and I started watching it, and I after 30 minutes, I'm like, I'm trying to do whatever I can to get off of it. Seriously? No. Shut your phone off. Go to another app.
I don't think TikTok is that serious.
It's not to me, but the algorithms that they use, and we can speak on this as well, is that they use all the algorithms that says, okay, you like this. So they consistently feed it to you. It's almost like when you go to Netflix.
Yeah,
Netflix now knows what kind of shows you like. If you go to Netflix and all you do is watch D.L. Hughley and Dave Chappelle and any other comedians, that's what they're constantly feeding you. If you like Billions, if you like any of those other shows like that, that's what they'll, Ray Donovan, because they do it to me. I love Ray Donovan. I love Millions, those kind of shows. And so that's what they consistently will find and put in front of you. So it's that old black magic. I don't know if we were talking about that in the green room or earlier in the show, but it's being used on the country at large in everything we do. Politics, corporate decisions, anything anything that gets our attention, they are working to manipulate it.
Yeah, the algorithms dictate what pops up on your computers and anything, televisions, your cell phones. It's so crazy. I remember me and Lee were talking about something, and then all of a sudden, all of the YouTube videos start popping up in that topic.
Yeah.
So the algorithms, I mean, what they say, big brother's listening and watching. When we were kids, that was such a far-fetched idea, but now it's a reality. We are living it. They got
Absolutely.
cameras everywhere. Big Brother, back in my day, was considered to be the government. Well, now we got private industry that is marketing us, just like you said, Mike, for everything that we speak about. If you say something about shoes, you're going to start seeing advertisement about shoes. It's just going to happen.
They'll inundate you. I mean, to the
Yeah.
point where it's next thing you know, it's like, I'm going to get some shoes. I can't stop myself.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
true. That's just the world we live in now. They follow the cookies, as they call them. And when you go to a website and you accept those cookies, it sets a little file on your phone or on your computer. So when you go to Best Buy and you look at TVs, when you go to another website, you go to CNN, all of a sudden you're over on the right-hand side or wherever, you're going to see ads for TVs. So they're targeting directly to you. It's target marketing. And that's just the way it is. Get used to it, understand it, don't get offended, and ignore the ads if you need to.
Yeah, and that's my whole point when whether it's DeSantis and the politicians or it's anybody that's out here, we live in a manipulative environment, and anything that can, if you touch it, they got your fingerprint and they're running with it. So, you need to find an isolation point for yourself, to understand, okay, if there are certain things that you like, experiment, do your homework, check it out, make sure that, you're not being suckered. Everything was like Lee just said at the bottom of the screen, accepting cookies. Some will let you X out of it, some won't. But trust and believe me, if you hit that X, it's sending something back.
Right. One way or the other.
One way or the other.
And what I want to do, and this is what I hope to do by sharing stories like this about DeSantis, that we cannot ignore him. He's dangerous. We cannot allow politicians to operate from a perspective of revenge in their heart. Okay, he may not be attacking me today, but what if he turns on senior citizens tomorrow? Okay,
well, he did that in Florida when he was managing the whole COVID thing. Who were the people that were dying first? The senior citizens.
Exactly.
Yeah. He didn't give a damn. He didn't care.
Yeah. So now Lee, Mike, and myself are endangered species because of the way he approached this situation and went after it.
Yeah.
For whatever reason. But you got to remember, when you are an elected official, when people vote you in, you are responsible for serving the entire population of your state. Okay,
That's the problem.
Not just the Republicans and the people with the wealth, or just the Europeans, because Florida has a very large, wealthy population of residents.
Absolutely.
Okay. And they benefited greatly from 45 being in office because they were granted tax relief out of this control.
Only those that were still lucrative and making money in business, the corporations. But a large majority of the population, a lot of retirees, people who have moved from the north down to the south into Florida living on a fixed income, they didn't gain anything. Didn't help them.
Well, the state of Florida doesn't have income taxes that they pay. So a lot of people, when they
Well,
go down,
same thing in Texas.
Yeah.
yeah, they don't have to pay income tax. But they moved down there, like you say, for the weather.
Snowbirds.
Yep, snowbird,
Mhm.
great, gray. What do they call them? Gray something. I forget what the term that they use. But when they get down there, they live down there throughout the winter. And then they go back. So they bring resources, they buy gas, they buy food,
Yeah.
they support the economy of that state. So like you said, Lee, a minute ago, when you disregard, now probably most of those people before they got to Florida, they took all the vaccinations and everything that would keep them safe when they got down there, because God forbid if they went down there and then thought, well, I'll get it when I get to Florida. That's not going to happen unless you pay for it out of your pocket, which you probably still could do, because the medical community stood up to the governor and said, hey, we gotta service people. We cannot let people get epidemic or out of control with sickness. It'll never leave the state if we don't get on top of it. And speaking of which, parlaying into another related conversation, Dr. Fauci lowered the pandemic state on this week. The state of being in a pandemic.
Yeah.
That hey, we're no longer in a pandemic. Now, I don't know if I believe that or not.
We can't even
based on the
believe where
numbers.
the who, what, when, and where of COVID-19 and how it started. This ain't the time to be going, I don't know if I believe. I didn't believe him, Ron, from the moment that it came out, because I believe that if it was some kind of espionage or something that was going on, we pissed somebody off and they dropped. The government knows exactly where it came from.
Mm-hmm.
No questions asked. They know exactly. And respectfully, they didn't want to incite any panic. But going back to what you said in reference to places like Florida and Texas, which have no state income tax, businesses are the reason why we grow and we're the states progressively as we are, because these businesses pay state taxes. And so if you don't have state income coming from citizens or people who live there, that's all you have. So you have to have, you literally have to have businesses open for the state to operate. Now, do you put people at risk to do that? That's a $64,000 question, because how else are you going to run the state unless all of a sudden you're going to start taxing individuals in the state?
Yeah, you got to come up with other means of
You got to come up with another
generating revenue.
solution.
Yep.
So they gonna push to have you go to a store, get the churches back open, whatever the case may be, because
That's right.
anyone that's paying taxes, any entity that's paying taxes has to be open, period.
Yeah, you're right. But I err on the side of caution. I don't believe in conspiracies. I think that I trust the science more than politicians, especially when politicians try to use situations and a pandemic to their political advantage. That says to me, the people, even the people that voted your dumbass in, you don't have any regard for, because they were dying just like everybody else. The people that put Trump into office were dying at a rapid rate, just like everybody else. And he's the one that didn't want to, expose what the real deal was.
I'm laughing at Mike. Got
What are you
a
doing
roast,
over there, man?
got a roast call.
Your cousin came in here and was trying to get on the
Oh,
microphone.
I was gonna say, got a roast call, Coach. Yeah, that's a big commercial up here in
Man,
Chicago.
he flew in here and bounced off the walls like pew, pew, pew. I was gonna try to ignore him, and then I was like, "Wait a minute, Ron Jr., Slow down. I got something for
That's
you.
what you
Hey,
get for
got-
trying to do the show in the garage.
He got one of them killer bees came to visit him.
yeah, I don't know what that was, but he caught an L, okay?
He hit his head on the wall.
Hey, wait a
with
minute.
the
He was
heart
trying to
attack.
survive like, that didn't hurt. I was like, okay, oh, hit me with your hardest thing. Bring me full power.
That thing looked big enough to be a killer bee,
Oh.
boy. You better
That
not
thing
let
was
him
big,
sting
wasn't
you.
it?
That
Yeah,
was big.
yeah. I'm sorry, Lee. Go ahead, finish your statement,
I'm
man.
sorry too. Either I was going to turn the
I
camera
was
off.
trying to ignore the banging. I was like,
Yeah, man. I lost
going.
it, man. He got serious about that homicide. You know.
I see you doing a show. I want to be involved.
Oh man, that was a homicide straight up. We witnessed it, boy.
Oh yeah, that's it. I
You're a
killed him.
Killer
Law and order. I'm going to jail.
in the garage.
In the garage.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Well,
sir. Yes, sir.
Here's the thing, folks. On a serious note, be very, very careful who you listen to and believe in. If it sounds too good to be true, then it probably is.
Absolutely.
No, it is. And if somebody tells you that they're going to do all these wonderful things and bring about prosperity and help you, whatever financial category that you're in, look at history first. Especially if a Republican says we're going to do, wonderful things for the middle class and the poor. Look at their history. What have they done?
Yeah.
But lip service, lying, cheating, stealing, causing distractions. Everything that the Democrats want to do, they say no to. But when they get into power, when the Republicans take over, and maybe they will take over the House and the Senate again. But what are they going to do? Sandbag the man that's in the White House and do nothing. Then they'll gain control of the White House. They'll have the House, the Senate, the White House, the Supreme Court, everything. They got all the juice, all the power, and nothing will change.
Yep.
That's why I could never seriously consider voting for any Republican, because they don't do anything for me. Never have, and I don't think they never will. When
I don't trust the entire political base at all, Lee, to be honest with you.
Well,
at one point, I felt those sentiments that you're expressing right now, but I'm telling you, it's a game. It's a game with all of them.
It is, but again, look at the history. What have the Democrats done? They've done more than the Republicans in my lifetime. I'll be 72 years old next month. So if I make it to see that, knock on wood.
Can I have that 40-inch color TV you got on the wall or something?
43 inch. You have to talk to Debbie about that.
Oh, 43. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Because
if you was cashing out live on the air, I was just like thinking,
you'd be better off getting some of this stuff on this desk in here. She don't give a damn about, but
so that 43
TV ain't coming off the wall.
See, I wanted to get it, Ron, while we were taping, so I could go back and say, Mrs. Michaels,
right.
He promised me on the air. He said I could have it.
Yeah. That 43 that she gangster, she ain't giving that up.
No,
I showed Lee. I got that's when he got me. I said, Lee, you can come over here and watch this one. You just got to come to Texas.
That's wrong.
Yeah,
you'd be better off trying to get this microphone or this Rodecaster or the ATEM Mini Extreme ISO or the Stream Deck or the 2 or 3 computers sitting under the desk and the DaVinci Resolve Speed Editor.
What about that gold record in the background?
Yeah, you can have those too. You can get all that. The lights, the camera, the monitors. She don't care nothing about that.
She don't care nothing about none of
but
that.
That TV is not coming off.
That TV is on when she's asleep.
Oh, wow.
Okay. So, nah. I would say just okay. You can have that.
I
Just pass it
apologize
over.
for interrupting, but I couldn't
Yeah.
pass it up.
Yeah, I know another jab.
So
But
you'll be how old next
Did you say 77?
72.
Oh,
Stop.
72. I'm sorry.
72.
I added 5 years. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you
Ah,
did.
just 72.
Y'all better hope I last that long.
We do. Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
gonna make
Yeah.
it, bro. You're
Okay.
gonna make it. You know,
Yep.
you know, you've endured the test of time. You know, they can kick the tires so many times, you know, that they know people that's made like you're gonna make it. And I'm only saying that because your sister's on the line, you know.
Right.
That's right. That's right.
Don't mess with Miss B because she'll Chris Rock you. Okay.
Well,
I know. It runs in the family, huh?
Yeah.
I've been knowing him since he was 15, since I was 15 years old.
Uh-huh.
And
And he's 82 now.
and I'm 85.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
tell you, boy, y'all.
I'd rather, you know what? I'd rather act my color than live my age. So don't be jealous. Don't be hating.
Yeah. Well, you
That's
know,
a good one.
I want to go back to what Mike said a little while ago about his disbelief with the pandemic. He didn't find another one. Lord have mercy. You might be producing honey in the walls or something, bro.
No, I don't know. Those aren't bees. That's not
oh,
a bee. I don't know what that is, but they cousins.
okay. But there is a record of 1 million people in the United States that have died from something.
Yeah.
And what they have identified that to be has been a airborne disease that has been, causing people to get a condition, especially if you have a weakened condition, out of here. And with that being said, I don't want to take any chances, by not believing what they are saying that has existed, no matter where it generated, no matter what fool opened up the cage and let it out, it makes no difference at this point who, where, or why it was released. If it was a germ warfare on us, then it was effective. When they identified it as the people, Black, African American, and brown, who suffered from it more than any others, then they was like, oh, that ain't our problem. And they proceeded with that mentality that it really ain't our problem. If we lose, a large population of our, dark-skinned folks, they was cool with that. Those were acceptable losses.
And the cards were stacked against minorities because we, in general, don't have access to good health care.
Or
So
knowledge
you're
of what
walking
our health is.
right, exactly. So we're walking around with problems and don't even know.
That's right.
We don't know. We have no idea.
That's right. We don't know. And we allowed those things to continue to exist in our families, to people that we care about and we lost. They were victims, to this bug and to this germs that were floating around. And I'm not gonna let them get me that easy. I'm just gonna say it like that. You got to come better than that if you're gonna get me, and that's the attitude that I have about it. I have lost friends, it's just like many of us have, over the last 2.5 years. And it's still people that are getting sick. I had a cousin that called me up and we were talking, and they diagnosed her with COVID and she didn't know she had it, but they diagnosed her after she took the vaccination.
Oh, wow.
So the vaccination attacked her, and they thought they were going to have to cut off both of her legs.
What?
Yeah, because she blood clotted.
Oh my.
in both of her legs, and she already had a heart condition.
Mhm.
So, and she was aware of her heart condition, which was her concern about taking the vaccination in the first place, because she didn't know how this vaccination was going to affect the type of heart condition that she has. So, by her, bless you,
Thank
by her, being cautious, about taking the vaccination. And then when she got around to taking the vaccination, and then she got blood clot, 6 months she was in the hospital. They had told her that first they said she ain't gonna live. And then secondly, they told her that they were gonna have to amputate both of her legs. But by the grace of God, she's still here with both of her legs, and she was recovering at a very slow pace when I last spoke to her. So those kind of things are not made up scenarios or
Right.
situations. That's somebody's reality. That's somebody's life that they're experiencing, during these last 2.5 years. Okay. And just today, because I kind of monitor the numbers closely to try and keep up what's going on worldwide and locally, because last year during this time, they was like, oh yeah, it's okay, you can go outside, wear a mask,
Right.
at your own risk, your choice, at your own risk, and people, the numbers are starting to go up. So when I say that I am not willing to look at Dr. Fauci's statement and say, oh, I'm so glad that he says that we're not in pandemic state anymore, because we're not getting thousands of people a day. Now, this is his rationale.
Oh yeah, and those numbers were like crazy.
Yeah, we don't have thousands of people a day going to the hospital and, getting sick, and some not coming out, some are recovering. The vice president was sitting at home recovering from a positive diagnosis.
Obama got it about a month ago.
Yes.
Yeah.
And like they said, these are people that are in very strict protocol. Okay. Very strict protocol. They test, when they come around each other, they wear masks. They're exercising the necessary protocols in order to stay as safe as possible. Okay. But yes, she got it. She's taking that Pfizer medicine that a Pfizer got approval for treatment without having to go to a hospital. So I am happy for her,
Amen.
to be able to not suffer immensely from the conditions that this thing can bring upon anybody that catches it. And I'm not trying to be a guinea pig. I don't want to be, one of them people that say, oh yeah, I got it and I survived. No, I ain't trying to be that person. You know what I'm saying?
See, it works for me.
Yeah. Look, my son came up with COVID.
Oh wow.
Okay. And he didn't take a vaccination. Now, of course, he's, just turned 30. And when he turned 30, he was sick as a dog, talking about, man, I got it. I said, well, what are you doing? Hey, man, I'm just staying out of everybody, because he got a son almost 2 years old,
Oh wow.
so I'm like, he suffered, but he got it from his job. It was like, everybody at his job caught it.
Wow.
So everybody survived, but the suffering, okay, there was a great deal of suffering that went on with him surviving this. Even though he didn't take the shots, he still suffered, just
Right.
like anybody else who had taken the shots, especially in the beginning. Before they even had a shot, there was a lot of people in the beginning, so I encourage people, even at this late date, to still protect yourself and still stay in COVID protocol.
Absolutely.
Wear your mask,
That's right.
continue to keep your distance, wash your hands, and try to be one of those people when it's all said and done, that I survived it. I didn't get it. I am still here, and that's my testimony. I want to still be here. I don't want to be one of them people that y'all be talking about. Can I have
Looking
that
down
little?
on you. Right?
Yeah, talking about, can I have that 43-inch monitor on your bedroom wall?
He said he was
Yeah,
gonna leave it to me if anything ever happened to him.
That's what I said from day one. I said I want to see the end of this disaster.
Uh-huh.
I want to be able to talk about it. And knock on wood, I've been lucky. I have not had a case of COVID. I've had 3 shots, and I think I'm a couple of weeks away from being available for the 4th. So, I'm doing what I had to do, and I stayed in the house, didn't do much at all until what, December of 2021.
Yeah.
So I was very isolated.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that helped. But then when the shots looked like they were working, I said, okay, well, let me get in there.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where I'm at on it, and I don't feel bad about it. I didn't have any bad reactions to it, to the shots. Some people, got a little fever, a little headache, and whatever. But I I was lucky. I didn't get any kind of side effects. And I said, well, I got to get back out in the world, and I have a business to run, and I got to, protect myself. So
Mm-hmm.
I went with the science.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Glad to have you around.
I have more work to do. I got to keep antagonizing and keeping my foot in your butts.
Yeah.
Keep you
Yeah.
guys moving forward. That's
Good
my
luck
job.
to you, because I got a tiny asshole. So.
Okay. TFN, but okay.
Another thing you should not
Never
say
say
to another man.
Another guy, right? Exactly.
Oh
So
no.
let me rewind a little bit and go back on Mr. Musk.
Mm-hmm.
He's starting to smell like Trump to me. His Musk oil is starting to look like Trump.
Oh Lord.
But he is far more dangerous than Trump because he's got real money. Trump had fake money.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're walking around talking about buying Twitter for what, 43, 44 million, I haven't heard the number on the buying the whole country music industry. Now, somebody else said he was going to buy one of the soft drink companies, Pepsi or Coke or something. I don't know. But maybe some of that is just like bullshit. But why does one want to have so much control over so much?
It's a game. It's the same thing that we
But it's
look at
dangerous. It's dangerous.
It's very dangerous, but it's the
Look
same
at
thing
the
we look at.
broadcast industry, and when Reagan deregulated the industry and allowed the investment bankers to come in and totally destroy
Right.
the broadcast industry. What good has come out of any of the deregulations that have happened? What good has come out of, look at what's his name? Mitt Romney and Bain Capital.
Yeah.
Big investment company. They would buy companies and shred them, sell off bits and pieces of it, and destroy it. Put little towns out of business.
Yeah. Didn't care.
Yeah. So why shouldn't the government stand up and protect its people?
Because
Why
the
do we
government is
allow
corrupt.
these guys, and why do we idolize rich people?
It's like they have a lot of fun.
Yeah, but what good is it to you? Look at the mom and pop stores have been eliminated, destroyed, erased from the big companies like Walmart.
Oh, remember they were
Costco.
blocking them in tons of cities. They but
Yeah,
they
but
couldn't fight it. It was a major
because the
steamroller.
money, the money was too big to ignore it. The tax dollars, the revenue, the jobs that were created.
And
That's why,
and Walmart
and our
slid into,
politicians rolled over.
and a lot of Walmarts rolled into some of these small towns and got tax breaks for 10 years.
Yeah.
Oh, of
They
course.
didn't have to pay no sales tax in those communities for at least 10 years. I know we got a Walmart in my local area. They couldn't wait for that 10-year period to be over with so they can start collecting sales tax from
Mhm.
Walmart, because they've been skating.
Right.
But that's what they negotiated for the local community to, coax them into their area
That's
so that
right.
they can bring jobs and make it look like the local government brought industry in that they could not benefit from.
Yeah, sometimes things aren't really what they appear to be in the beginning. And many times there have been companies that have come in and done some great things for a short period of time and then walk away, leave the little towns and communities empty handed. Ghost towns now. Look at Gary, Indiana. It's still a ghost town. And it's going to be that way probably forever, at least in my lifetime.
Yeah, it's
You,
it's
you,
it's, it's at
it's
least 30 years away from recovery.
Yeah, I mean, the state can't afford to put money into it. But at some point in time, someone will come in there, and because it's a lot of land sitting there unused, a lot of houses that have been vacant for 20 years have been torn down. There's a lot of vacant land there. There's something that could be done with it.
Yeah.
And it's going to take some creativity. Ooh, nasty word.
Nothing
Yeah.
from nothing, leave nothing.
And that's what we left with.
Boy, that timer was impeccable with that, because that's exactly it. Let me just jump in here on something that you're saying.
Hmm.
And I read Sam Walton's book and kind of understood his theory to basically changing the world from the Ben Franklin Five and Dimes and the Woolworths and these kind of companies who basically were holding people hostage at the same time. We talk about monopolies and these. I live in the community that I just moved in. I'm around 3 Walmarts. Okay. So and all of them are packed. Okay. You ain't just going in there and you're hearing crickets. The parking lot is full. You got people circling around looking for a space. But one of the things that Sam Walton pointed out in his book was the fact that these small companies did a terrible job at super serving its clients. As a matter of fact, he was a stock clerk. And so they were literally going in there, taking a pad and pencil saying, okay, we need more black socks. We need more Tide. We need more of this, that, and the other thing. And it was falling to deaf ears. Maybe the owner couldn't afford it. Maybe that company was waiting on a shipment that had come in late. Once again, like I said, driving this car has been phenomenal. I had a lady get in and she worked at one of the fast food places, and she got in the car complaining about the manager, that the manager wasn't ordering food. Okay. Now what else do you need to do? You're not at the window saying, thank you for coming to Ron's. How can I help you? You're in the back. You're keeping up with the time. You're making sure everything else is going on. But if it looks like you don't have the wrapping paper to wrap the food, that's your job to order it. If it looks like you're getting low on burgers in the bunker, that's your job to order it. And so what we found out when we were a tiny nation before consolidation kicked in, that just like we feel like we're being taken advantage now of the big companies, we were being taken advantage from the little companies.
Mm-hmm.
And so the question is, where is the breaking point in this situation? Do you let the Walmarts be a monopoly and you're able to go get whatever you want from 9 a.m. till 10 o'clock at night, okay? Or do you try to save these little companies that can barely keep their lights on? They employ people that have been with them for the last 75 years. You know, the lady that comes to wait on you is 80 years old, okay? And that's why I said I think it was flaws in both sides of the situation in reference to what the citizen or the public at large gets out of these businesses, whether they're mom or pops or their consolidation. And when you look at people like Elon Musk, who comes along and now understands artificial intelligence, understands all the things that it takes to run a business at a rapid pace. 60 Minutes did a story about 60 days ago, and that wasn't to be matched up, showing the container ship sitting off the coast of California waiting to come in. Now, that didn't make any sense at all. If they've got the goods and services that, ironically, we could make here in the United States, but we still get made in China, and they're waiting on them sitting 5-6 miles off the coast, how come that's not coming in? You see what I'm saying? I mean, it's just like we can't win. And that's why I always say respectfully that the country is politically corrupt. And for some reason, we can't get a handle on who we can trust. You know,
Well,
if you go back and watch a movie that came on when I was a toddler and Lee was probably 20 years old, Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. James Stewart played in that movie.
Yep.
And was trying to go in and make changes and have a voice for a little community to go say, hey, you keep forgetting about these folks who elect us to come here to do our jobs, and you guys are just hobnobbing and having parties and having a great time.
Yep.
That's true. But you know, the problem with the goods coming in and out of foreign countries to come here, there's a combination of issues as it relates to that. Getting it out of those countries is a hassle. I bought a computer tower right around March of 2020. It's still sitting in China
Really?
in a
Wow.
box, in a container. It's been sitting in a container for more than 6 months. Now, the supplier, the company I bought it from, have offered me an opportunity to pay another $150 some, and they'll expedite it another way, maybe fly it out of there. And to me, I mean, it's not worth that to me. So it's going to have to sit there until they can get clearance to get that container full of these computer towers to be shipped to America. And some of them, well, I assume that particular container is coming to America because they sold stuff all over the world. So everybody's waiting for the prices to go down. I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah.
Or they're having a problem getting stuff shipped because there's so much stuff that needs to get out of these countries. They can't manage it. And they're still just recovering from the pandemic. So people are starting to come back to work. It's starting to get a little bit better. And so when it gets on the boat and it gets to America, whether it's coming into LA or Long Beach or New York or Baltimore, wherever it's going, Florida, it has to sit there because they don't have enough trucks to take the containers to where they need to go. 80,000 truck drivers were kicked off the road because they couldn't pass a drug test.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they're trying to stay up all night and drive so they can make $5,000 for a delivery.
Exactly. So there's a combination of issues that we're dealing with. Now the economy is starting to freeze up a bit. Inflation is kicking in. And we're going to have to now hunker down and be cool. Hang on to what you got for a minute. See how long it's going to last.
Yeah.
Got a war over there in Ukraine. That's not going to get better. It's going to get worse before it gets better.
Yep.
Okay. Now the Russians have cut off the natural gas line into Poland and what's the other country? Romania.
Hmm.
So
Anybody that's helping Ukraine, they
yeah,
started,
yeah. So
they
it's gonna
started
get
shutting them off.
nasty. It's gonna get
Yeah,
real ugly.
it's already ugly.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Look, I got a question for you guys. I got a picture there, Lee. There you go. I don't know if you guys can see it or not.
I
Close
can see
enough.
it.
You can see it. We're talking about, wealth, and here's three of the richest people in the world. So now, when we're talking about three of the richest people in the world, I know we've been focusing on Elon Musk most of the conversation this evening. But what about these other guys that are stupidly rich? These guys got so much money they can go up in space just for recreational visits.
Yeah,
You know,
5-10 minutes. Let's just go up and drop 5-10 minutes.
you know, I'm gonna
For
take
$50 million.
three of my
What the hell?
friends, and we're gonna drop in on the space station.
Do some shots.
Yeah, just hang out in space for a couple of hours and then come back down. So, with this kind of wealth and looking at what this particular social media post was emphasizing is the fact that in 2012 the minimum wage was $7.25 and in 2022 it's still $7.25. So in some places. So when you look at these guys, and we've been talking about Elon Musk and his campaign for freedom of speech. What about these other guys? Because I mean, they're responsible, for a whole lot of stuff being wrong in a lot of places around the world. So, are we going to equally blame these other guys, for their endeavors? I mean, I'm just throwing it out there because
Let me say this.
these guys are into some bad stuff.
The answer to your question overall is at the bottom of the page. 3 words: tax the rich. Okay.
Yep.
That's the first part of contention. But when you go back, I'm not really mad at these guys that are on here because once again, we are the weak. We are the meek. We are the ones who will fall for anything. And once again, all you got to do is go and vote and don't fall for the banana in the tailpipe. Excuse me. And you won't be seeing the wealth at this level. Once again, politically corrupt. These guys go run for office. They stomp in their communities. They stomp across the country. This ain't right. We're going to do this. The American public needs to be heard. Yada, 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 yada.
Mhm.
But you have campaign expenses, right? It costs to fly on a plane, especially a private plane, to go to places to campaign. Okay. You got to rent a hall to have speeches. You got people who are passing out ballots, who are doing everything for you. That costs money. And all of a sudden, one of these 3 guys on this screen decides he's going to back you. That's going to take all of that pain away. And that's why you have a problem.
Yep, you got all these different PACs that they can give unlimited amount of money to.
Yep.
And
That's exactly
it's
it.
totally legal. But who did that? The Republicans.
Republicans. All of the politicians did it, Lee. I mean, I'm not.
No. The Republicans
Yeah, they
did. No, the Republicans created the laws so that these.
Of course,
PACs
I mean
could
they may be in leadership, but once again, let me tell you something. The donators don't give a damn if you're Republican or Democrat. All they want to know is, do they have your vote? That's all. And I'm gonna tell you,
that's
it's
true.
a lot of staging. It's a lot of staging in politics. People go behind closed doors in secret rooms and talk about, South Carolina. And I don't know who I was talking to about this. Yes, I do. It just came to me, but I'm not going to mention their names. Senator Clyburn and Tim Scott, both sitting in the state of South Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
One gives the rebuttal for the Republicans, for the Democrats when the president speaks. The other one is out there shaking hands and kissing babies to get a guy elected that was dead in the water. If it wasn't for James Clyburn, Biden wouldn't be sitting in the White House today. This guy was, if you ever had a fish bowl in your house as a kid and you had a fish, remember you come in the room and the fish dead and he'd be laying on this side. You're like, wow, Bozo dead. And then she got to take the little netted thing and go get him out. And you want to go bury him in the backyard and the whole 9 yards. I'm trying not to believe what I'm saying because I understand exactly what you're saying, Lee, but I've seen it up close and personal. They're all wearing the same robes. They're at the point where they're willing to say, you take this side, I'll take that side. When John McCain passed away, and I think I said this on this show before, if not, I don't mind repeating myself. I like to hear me talk. To run his office cost $912,000 a year. He wrote no speeches. He wrote no bills. And I'm not picking on John McCain. This is every person that does what he does. None of them. They don't answer their own phones. If you saw a senator or a congressperson at an event, you say, Representative Michaels, I wanted to talk to you, man, because I think the FCC could be doing some stuff and blah, 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 blah. Can we get together? He says, well, let me know, call my secretary and we'll see if we can do breakfast, lunch, or dinner. Who going to pay for that meal?
You.
Right. The person
Taxpayer.
who wants to meet. Yeah. Right. You ain't paying for it, Senator Michaels. So right. They probably think about how much money they spend. They don't have to buy breakfast, lunch, dinner. Mm-hmm. They have their own home in their district. Mm-hmm. Then they get a home that they get stipend for in the District of Columbia. Mm-hmm. That ain't just the Republicans. That's both sides.
Well, it's
That's
true.
where I'm coming from. That's the only reason why I'm kicking up a little dust. I'm not disagreeing with you on some of the things because we saw it happen. You're absolutely right. I'd be a damn fool to sit here and say you're absolutely wrong. But the problem that I have is the cloaking. Take that damn mask off your face and stop acting like you the poor, you with us and you the poor pitiful side, and you sitting in them private rooms.
Living it up.
Yeah, living it up because you get the same thing they get. You get the identical same thing they get. You get political contributions that are regulated. You get breakfast, lunch, and dinner paid for. If you play golf, they take care of your green fees, and they ain't prejudiced to your political attributes. Well, this country is politically corrupt.
Well, and we allow it to happen.
That's correct.
Because we don't show up at the polls.
Come on, preach.
Changes. Okay, so look, let's say you vote a person in, whether in the House or the Senate, it doesn't matter, or the president, or in the local races. And when they come up for a re-election, you evaluate, you look at their report card and see what they've done. What has changed? Nothing. Vote them out.
Right.
Vote them out.
But before you even get to that process, right? But Lee, before you get to that process, you need to be asked. See, they'll come out and stomp so they can win, right?
Mm-hmm.
See, you don't ask, not you personally, but the people don't ask the right questions. You can't say what you gonna do because that's the question. They say, well, if we elect you the senator or blah, 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 what are you gonna do? Well, I'm gonna get in there and I'm gonna fix this. And I'm gonna get in there and I'm gonna make sure that you're represented. And I'm gonna shut up.
Yeah, what's the plan? How are you gonna accomplish it? Yeah.
Why
all
are
you lip service is good, but
all that lip service is good. Why are you really running?
And there's no way of holding people accountable. Like Lee just said, we need to look at the report card, but the report cards are ineffective because once they're in office,
That's
and
right.
just case in point, this is a perfect scenario. In Illinois, we have Dick Durbin, who is the chair of the Judiciary Committee right now because of the Democrats having the majority control in the Senate. I have reached out to Dick Durbin and have given him a written plan that he and Cory Booker can begin to start the process in the committee in which he is the head of.
Right.
But he's not interested in executing change or doing anything different
at all.
Okay, and his people, the one who runs his office, who have to answer the phone calls and deal with us, the public, they say, oh, well, we're going to forward this to his staff that works with him on his committee. Bullshit.
I agree. That's exactly it.
Well,
that's a
again,
song and a dance that has been
don't.
going repeatedly over and over and over again on every level.
So get mad, and you know what time it is?
Hammer time. Hammer time. Hammer time. Hammer time. Hammer time.
That's what time. You got to bring the hammer down.
And we don't do it. We don't
You
make
got to
time
bring the
for that.
hammer down, man. You got to bring about the change.
Give them that TikTok energy that you got. Give them that Instagram energy that you got. Give them that Twitter energy you got. Give them that Facebook energy where you answer 15 posts at one time. You ever looked at your phone and you see you got like 36 or 37? And what do? You go and answer each one you like or wow or happy face. You respond to some of them,
true.
but you get that number in red off of your screen.
Yeah, look what LT said. LT said, but yet they still keep voting him in, and everything that comes through his office goes into file 13. So true. Very true.
Yeah, that's just the truth. I mean,
yeah, that's very true.
I'll give him a little bit of rope, if you will, benefit of the doubt, because if you call that office, there's probably thousands, tens of thousands of people who are calling. And it's impossible for them to address every issue that you bring to a senator or House of Representative. But at some point in time, somebody has got to take the leadership role and get something done.
Well,
but as long as we, again, we can't allow them to sit there in the ivory tower, going to Washington and
man, I feel just like a rock star.
You can't give them that power. They're living like a rock star.
Yeah, and that's true.
At your expense.
Yes.
Now,
and
I'm not advocating overturning the government or anything like that. Nothing like that. But you got to look at it on an individual basis, candidate by candidate, local, state, federal level, and pick the cherries that are rotten and get rid of them, no matter what party they're in.
Yeah. And believe it or not, the things that I spoke to them about is not just to service people in Illinois, his district only, but I gave him some things that could be executed and done nationwide that will serve, especially people of color, because we suffer the most from injustices in the justice system. Okay. And one of the most important things that I brought up was that we people anywhere in the country should not have to get a pardon from a sitting president to make their federal record disappear. Okay. They should put that in the responsibility of local judges to be able to go case by case and say, okay, well, you've lived as a, good citizen. We're going to seal your record because every state does it. Every county does it. We'll seal your record and we'll give you an opportunity to be able to continue on with your life without being continuously persecuted. But on the federal level, they don't have those opportunities. So some of the things that I had presented to them to look into were not far-fetched. They were not pie in the sky type things. These are things no person should have to have a sitting president to issue a pardon to them in order to be able to get their life back. And that's the
Okay.
bottom line.
Okay. So you contacted Durbin's office. Who else did you talk to?
I've talked to other representatives about the same matter. Actually, I spread
Okay.
that whole thing. I talked to my local congressperson,
Okay.
even though she doesn't sit on that committee, but they have direct contact with them.
Okay.
It's the
So
person.
what you
I've
have to
actually
do.
contacted at least 3 or 4 members on that committee with the same information.
Okay, but see,
But
you're just one voice.
oh
Okay,
yeah,
not to
yeah,
minimize or take away from what you're attempting to do.
but it's an
But
attempt. It's a
yeah,
record. Yeah,
but you got to get a bigger voice. You got to get more people. You got
I'm
to
just
make
gonna
some
get on their
noise.
nerves until
You
they get tired.
well,
Until they get tired of seeing me. What
you
the
got to
hell do
remember,
we want
But
Ron.
now?
Ron, he's making it. Lee is funny as hell. You should be psychic. 'Cause I was just thinking that you as an individual,
You
it's
just
not gonna
one
happen.
voice. You just one
You're just
phone
one
call
voice.
on that day.
Now,
Right.
either you create an action group or
Right.
you come up with something. Man, you literally just went
And,
inside of my
and
stomach.
actually, I did spread it around to people in various places that are lobbyists and people that do that kind of stuff. Because I do know people that
Yeah, but you
have.
got no money to pay the
Right.
lobbyists to
That's
lobby on
right.
your
And
behalf
man, they give me
or
blood,
your
sweat, and
idea.
tears. You
No,
know,
Ron,
yeah, yeah.
Ron.
That's
I
not
hear
the
what
way it
you're saying.
works.
No, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
And I'm not being naive about it at all. I know how the system works. Trust me, I do.
So
But
you got to create your own, group.
mhm.
Create a nonprofit organization. Raise some funds. Beat on some garbage cans. Do whatever you got to do.
And make sure the people who are with you ain't got no damn records or any way that they can be
No,
put
I,
into
I
a
don't.
situation.
I think you can have some people who have been a
That will
part
be
of the
directly
system.
affected. Yeah.
Well, when
absolutely.
I say I'm talking about people who, immediately,
The head,
it
the
can wipe
head.
your group out.
Right,
That's what I'm
right,
talking about.
Yeah, but
right.
when you have people that are directly affected by the condition that
Yeah.
exists, those are the people that their voice should be heard, over
Absolutely.
other people.
I don't mean people who I'm talking about people who haven't reached the level of retribution.
Hmm.
You see what I'm saying? I'm talking about don't go out because see, that's one of the problems with Black Lives Matter. They go get people. Okay, how the hell you supposed to be marching and then CNN capturing you coming out of a liquor store that you broke into with a case of beer?
Well,
Or
come
coming
on
out
now.
with TVs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That whole thing has got to be solid because if you create a political action group, they're going to find out who it is and they're going to go through and pick off one by one if there's any flaws in there.
And that's how they attack you. That's how they break you
That's
down.
how they attack you.
Yeah,
Exactly.
they turn around and say, okay, we got to shut them up.
We got to
So
shut them down.
I'm gonna need y'all to go check out these people and see who they are, what they're doing, how serious they are
Yeah,
about what they're doing. Can we
absolutely.
buy them off? Can we intimidate them? Did they file their taxes on time?
There you go.
All the whole 9 yards. They're gonna send the IRS.
Everything.
They're gonna send everybody. To look. But the point that I'm making is that this is just an example of a situation where here's an elected official that gets elected time after time. And like Lee mentioned earlier, his report card is not effective, where we can say, well, he did this for us, or he
Mhm.
did this for them, or he was responsible for spearheading this. The one thing I say about Cory Booker in a positive way is that he stood up during that judicial confirmation and he encouraged that sister in a way that only he could after sitting there witnessing the verbal assault that they put down on that woman that she was not worthy of. She was already an accomplished judge.
Yeah, in the
Woman,
District
her
of Columbia. Them same
career,
people voted for her.
her career is stellar. Stellar. And upon getting her voted in, the Republican Party got up and marched out in protest after 3 of them on the Republican side turned and went against the trend and said, we're going to vote this woman in because she's worthy to be in. But Cory Booker did something that was not normal. He applauded her, supported her, and lifted her up in the midst of a Mercury Mook, because it was murky and it was bullshit. Okay, yeah, I said it out loud. They treated that woman like they would not treat a Caucasian person, period. They attacked her, and I mean attacked her in the worst kind of way.
They did, and that's what they do.
Out and lifted her up in the midst of the mess.
Yeah, well,
it's called theatrics, Ron. It's called theatrics, and that's the game that's played. That's one reason why number 45 didn't get reelected, because they play these games that they play to an audience that really isn't there. It's the same thing when they took her through this nomination, and they play to this audience like they're defending, the people and making sure. And they, that's why Romney and the other 2 came on through, because they didn't have anybody coming from their district saying they shouldn't elect this woman, that they shouldn't nominate this woman. They had nothing. But they all get here and they play these semantics to make you believe that there's a constituency out there that'll be very upset if we let her get in there.
Exactly.
She's black. She's a Democrat. She's married to a white man, and the list goes on.
Yeah, she's liberal. Oh my
she's
God, her
liberal.
She's gonna destroy the entire court system by herself, single-handedly.
Single-handedly, she's gonna tear it down.
Not one vote will be changed one way or the other by her being on.
There's only one vote.
Yeah, because they still have control of the court.
Yeah,
it's more Republican appointees on there than there are Democrats.
Right.
So
well, the thing of it is, at the end of the day, and I apologize for interrupting, but at the end of the day, all of us know attorneys, and they're pretty anal, and I say that respectfully. And when they get the law in front of them, they get a hard on for following the law more than they do caring about somebody that lives in District 37 in Wyoming. They don't give a shit.
Yep.
They're going to read that book. They're going to go with that law. And that's what it's all about, interpretation. Now, I'm not saying that all justices or
everybody except Clarence Thomas.
Yeah. I'm saying, I ain't saying all of them go, but what I'm saying to you is
him and his wife
it's all about the interpretation of law.
Right.
And that's what you want to hold them accountable to, is the interpretation. That's why they keep losing the fights when they have a woman or they have, a person of color, because they can't prove that this person is going to interpret the law different than what it is. They get a hard on for taking that law and making it what it is. And the crazy part about it is, guys, we're the suckers, because we don't know the law. They went to school. They studied it. They've had interpretation from scholars and everybody. So they know exactly what it was meant when that law came. Now, was that law in our favor? Possibly not. But the interpretation has to be there in our current society in order for it to work.
And it's based on how they present their argument.
That's correct.
Their interpretation.
Right. That's what I'm saying. I'm talking about their interpretation.
If it's the law is cut and dry, A, B, C, D, E, F, G,
Absolutely.
then there should be no argument from either opposing sides because
Exactly.
that's the law.
That's the
Right.
law.
That's
Yep.
it. So if there's a problem, the problem is with the law.
Right.
Yep.
So we
And
need
she
to talk
said
about
that.
how to change the law. Now,
And she said
this,
that too.
yeah, she did. But this is where the Republicans do a good job because they'll change the goddamn law.
Yep.
Well, they'll
voting
attempt to
rights.
do it for their constituents. See, they keep sending this. It's
It ain't
marketing
even
and
about
branding.
it ain't even about the people that voted them. It's what they want to do.
Right. It's
That's
convenience
that's
for what
about
they
the
do
people that
at the
vote,
That's
moment.
man.
There's in their best interest.
For their convenience at the moment. Yep.
Let me
Yeah.
tell you something. Here's where I'm in disagreement with that. Slightly. I'm not totally in disagreement. They've
All right.
already achieved what they wanted. Once you to justice, you ain't getting thrown out.
No, I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about the politicians.
Yeah, well, the
The senators
politicians.
and the
I
House
mean,
of
the only thing
Representatives.
politicians trying to do is make sure that they get reelected. See, this is what I was going to mention earlier: term limitations. That's what's missing when we were talking about Dick Durbin.
Mm-hmm.
You know, see, when you don't put terms into place, and you're letting McConnell and Manchin and all of these people just get reelected and reelected and reelected.
And
That's the
richer
first. Say that again.
and richer and
Yeah,
richer
and richer. Once again, you need to send them to Washington, and we should be looking for people who will do this job for no pay.
That
Let's
ain't
see
gonna
how many. Let's see how many people be running to do that job.
that ain't gonna happen. Yeah.
Yeah, because they got to give up. They got to get off
Right.
a successful law practice,
Right.
Mhm.
or they're a partner in a business that's going to take them into their retirement. But see, the thing of it is, if you start putting term limits out there, and that's what the American people need to start demanding. If you're in politics, you get 2 years, 4 years, 6 years. After that, hasta la vista, baby. You can't run anymore.
Right.
You're not going to be a lifer.
But that would be cutting their own throats. They ain't gonna do that.
Well, you don't
Well,
need them to do that. You need the people at large.
Well,
Going
yeah.
back to
No, the legislature has to be enacted from
well,
within.
but you got to put pressure on them.
Yeah.
It's
It'll
what
be a
Lee was
slow
saying
process.
about you being an action group. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Lee.
It'll be a slow process to bring about that kind of change in terms of how long people can stay in office, because the people that are there now, they have no desire to shorten their
not at
life.
all. No.
Okay, but one of the prerequisites for any new candidate should be, do you agree with term limits?
Yes.
Mhm.
And if they say yes, I would ask several follow-up questions. Why? Why do you agree or disagree? Okay. And I would say to them, I would ask the question, okay, you're running for the House to be a House member, federal level. How long do you think that term should be? 1 term, 2 terms, 3 terms? What do you think? And let's get a consensus from them up front.
Right.
And then put a lie detector test. See
Well, I
if
was
they're
going to
gonna
say,
be
you
in line.
really want them to lie to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if they lie,
Yeah.
get
we
rid of
need
them.
to know
Don't
it.
vote them in.
We need to
But
know.
I'm making a joke out of it, but that's the kind of thing. And then over a period of
Accountability.
time,
Accountability.
you will
Yeah.
get enough people in the various seats that will be there for the right reasons
That's right.
to go in and represent the best interest of the people.
Yeah.
Until
They forget-
then, nothing's going to change.
Nothing's going to
dramatically.
change.
Yeah, they
Nope.
forget why they were sent there. Same subject, point I want to bring up. Mike put this on my heart to do a couple of weeks ago. Can you bring up the picture, Lee?
Mhm.
Yeah. I was talking to Mike. He was talking to us a little while back, and we started talking about definitions of critical race theory.
Yes.
And this is all interrelated, and I ran across this image of an artist, Jonathan Harris,
Yeah.
with this painting about critical race theory.
And look at the painter.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Good
this
job.
is
Good job.
this is an image that depicts, just in an image, no words, that depicts the whitewashing of what has happened in history. Now, just as easily, it could have been the same painter, but it could have been the indigenous people
Yeah.
of this country. It could also have been the indigenous people of Mexico, the indigenous people of Africa, Australia, every continent, where the same painters have gone in and have whitewashed what they have done. So, I think it's important to keep this issue circulating continuously, because, and when I say they, governments all across this country, and worldwide for that matter, are not trying to take responsibility what they have done, to the people that lived in these countries before they got there, and their innocence of, oh, we didn't do nothing. I saw something that was posted on this week, which I'll show at a later date. The chief, which was an Indian chief, he said they came in with the Bible and then they owned the land. Nelson Bishop Tutu,
Desmond Tutu
said the exact same thing. They came in with the Bible and then they owned the land.
Mm-hmm.
So, no matter what continent you go on, Europeans have imposed atrocities on people.
Yeah.
And like I have said many times before, all through the month of February, I said the blood of our ancestors cries out that we never let them forget what they have done to us.
Mm-hmm.
And in the same tone as the victims of the Holocaust, there's Holocaust remembrance, awareness, all kinds of Holocaust, everything that exists all year round. They are not going to let you forget what Hitler did to them in Germany.
Absolutely not.
And I say in the same tone that we cannot let the young people of our generations that's coming up behind us forget on what their ancestors went through and how important it was to remember those that have died, our forefathers. We stand on the blood of our ancestors, our survival. The reason why we're able to do what we do tonight, today, is because we are standing on the shoulders of our ancestors that survived, who lived through that. And we are here today to not let their blood be in vain. I just wanted to throw that out there.
No, I agree with you. And let me add a caveat to that, and going back to the Jewish side and not throwing any fiery arrows, they're not going to have any African Americans telling their stories either. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
So
I
that's
got you.
why I said when I look at that picture right there, I understand where Jonathan is coming from, but at the same time, what I've always brought up in reference to questions to you about critical race theory is who's going to be teaching it.
Well,
And
we got the books to tell the stories.
Yeah, well, but once again, interpretation.
Yeah.
I'm very leery of. I'm not a prejudiced person, but I'm very leery about who tells my story. That's just life for me. That ain't got nothing to do with black versus white. I'm leery of someone telling my story. I put a montage on Facebook not long ago, and Lee was part of it, of 8 people who touched my life. So if you want to know something about Mike Love, you can ask any of those 8 people and they can tell you my radio story.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want nobody else telling my story but those 8 people. Y'all can talk about me if I work with you. I've done a show with you. I've been, on the, air with you, whatever. That's fine. You can say, I remember Mike Love. I was hanging out with him, whatever. That's good. That's all well and good. But when it comes down to telling my story, I put the 8 people on there that could tell my damn story.
Mm-hmm.
My
But when
critical radio theory.
Yeah. But when you look at the people that are in the picture, Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, Harriet Tubman, those are people that were very instrumental in moving the movement of blacks forward.
Absolutely.
So if we put them in a book and we keep them in a book, it's just like the Holocaust people don't care who talks about Hitler and what he did to them, as long as you don't forget.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
The concentration camp.
And I understand
the names, are totally irrelevant. It's the event. It's the event.
And the event was horrific, but our events were just as horrific. And we had multiple hangings, multiple crosses burned in yards, multiple murders.
Exactly.
And the list goes on. So, we just like theirs needs to be remembered, so should ours. And we'll work together to get that done, and respect everyone who has gone through something. And that's why I'm going back to when we started, we were talking about reparations. Right. And that's why I said, if they happen, I'm not looking to see money going to Louis and Lamborghini and everybody else out there. I'm saying to African Americans, if you're going to get a reparation, let it be a serious 1% FHA loan. Let's get some things that are going to give us what the mainstream of society has, but at a fair shake, because we didn't get a fair shake the first time.
Yeah. And speaking to that point, I did see that I think it was Harvard University is offering totally free education to anybody or any of the families that are in the area, because they use slave labor to build the institution.
Absolutely.
And there were many families of wealth that came from that institution.
That's all I'm talking about.
And
now you got to be smart enough to get in. I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, you don't. They just saying
you need to be.
They will take you and help you with your educational process.
Yeah.
Okay. Because they're what they call it. Are they an Ivy League? An Ivy League school? Mm-hmm. So an education from a Harvard or any of those Ivy League schools, will carry weight to
but don't push somebody through that's a dumbass. Don't do that.
No, they're gonna make them come up to the level.
Okay, well, let's make that clear.
That's worthy of the educational certificate or whatever diploma that they're going to receive. So they're going to have to accomplish some things when they get there.
Okay,
but they're not going to. Okay, let's call a spade a spade. All right. For decades, for hundreds of years, those institutions have systematically kept people that were qualified of color out of there. Come on now.
I understand that. Yeah. I mean, okay. But we talking about qualified. That's the key word. And I think we're on the same page with that. That's all I'm saying. You need to be qualified. As long as you're qualified and you can get in and they know you can graduate, why do you need to pay for a damn education?
Well,
that's all I'm saying.
There were people that were qualified to get in and they kept them out.
Oh, well, we passed that. We talking about what they should do moving forward.
Now going forward, if you come there and say, express an interest, I want to go to this university, okay, then they're going to help you get through that university. That's fine. Okay. Yeah, so that's the way I understood the program to be. Yep.
All right.
I think all of it is overpriced. for
Yeah,
what the
education.
students,
Yeah.
what the kids get out of it. Because, we were all taught, well, you got to have an education, son. You got to go through high school. You need to go to college. And then because when you get out of college, you're going to have a degree. And if you want to go back and be a doctor or lawyer or whatever, you'll go back and do another 4 to 6 years and you'll come out and you'll make a lot of money. That's partially bullshit.
A lot of bullshit.
Because there's a lot of very highly educated kids out here today, and they can't get what they were promised, what they thought they were going to get, what they were told they were going to get.
Right.
And then they come out of there with a $200,000-$300,000 student loan.
Yeah.
Bills.
That's a freaking mortgage, man.
Paying for the next 50 years.
So the system, our educational system, does not work for everybody.
Right.
Now, if your parents were well off and put a plan together, were able to do that so that you don't have to have or be strapped with a student loan, God bless you. You're an exception to the rule. Most people don't have that luxury. So you come out of your university with the same diploma that the other guy got. He didn't have to pay for his, or somebody paid for it, but you are strapped with this loan. You go out and you try to go take your education and get a job, and there's no guarantee that you're going to get a job. Because listen, and I tell this to all the young people I run across. I've said it to my own children. It's about relationships. If you go to a university and you pledge one of those fraternities or sororities or whatever, you're building relationships for when you come out of school. Not always 100%, but at least the camaraderie that you built during that time in school may give you the edge above somebody who does not have that personal relationship with.
Right.
So those things are important, but there's so many kids coming out of school and not enough jobs at the level that's going to give you the opportunity to pay off those loans.
Yep.
That's the trick.
Yep.
All right.
That's the broken part of our system.
They got
our
you.
Educational system.
They got you.
And more kids are coming over here from foreign countries, from wealthy parents that can afford to pay $100,000 a year, $50,000 a year. When those kids come out, they go back to their country with the education they got here and do well over there. Or some of them stay here. How many foreign doctors do we have?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I'm not saying it's, I don't have a problem with it, because some of the doctors I go to happen to be foreign. And they're good at what they do. But the system is not fair.
Not at all.
Not fair.
I hear you.
Take us home, Lee.
Let's go.
All right. Thank you, folks, for coming in and being a part of the show tonight. Only 3 out of the 6 were able to make it because they have other important things to do as opposed to being here tonight, and that's fine. But next week, hopefully we'll have all 6 guys back again. And you, the most important element of this show. Without you, it doesn't matter about us. We try to spread a little truth and some information that you can use and take back to your community and your family that will better you. We try to give it to you uncut, straight up, no chaser. And that's the only way we know how to hand it out. We're not getting paid to do this, by the way. There's no money involved. We are all volunteers, and we love what we do. And we hope with that we inspire you with the conversations that we have here. God bless all of you.
Elon Musk on the line. He's got some money for you, Lee.
Yeah.
No, he ain't got nothing for me. I ain't got nothing for you, and you
Good
don't have
night,
nothing
Lee.
for me. I'm not buying a damn Tesla. Understand?
Oh Lord.